Music may calm the savage beast, but it might help your pet too. Check us out on Tales from the Road next.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Tales from the Road. I'm Courtney Wall, and of course joined by the one and only Dr. Jill Windy.
One and only.
One and only. We are going to calm the beast and or our pet today.
We're going to talk about that. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Yeah. Well, I thought it'd be fun to just, we get so medical all the time. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun just to, hey, let's look at life a little bit from the dog and cat perspective and see what things might be happening there.
And maybe I should get some broadcast safe music to play under
There
this
you go.
Episode. And naturally, we're talking about music and hearing, and my earpiece is falling off today.
It's
naturally.
perfect.
So what do we mean? I mean, dogs and cats are different. We talk about that in every aspect of what we cover here. But dogs and cats are also different when it comes to
the way they hear. Yes, they do. So there are some, fun things to think about. Dog and cat ears are not shaped the same way as human ears. Our ear canals are very wide, and they're very short, and they're kind of angled down like this. And dog and cat ear canals are very long and narrow, especially dogs, and they're shaped like an L. The eardrums are way down here, and they just hear things very, very differently than we do. We have to remember they're a hunting species. If you ever have seen your dog, go running to the door before you knew someone was home.
My cats do that.
Yeah, because they can hear that things are going on out there. And so we have to, remember they're very, very different range of frequencies. We all have heard about dog whistles and things like that, and you can't really hear them well, but the dogs can, and they can hear a different range of sounds than we can. But they also have a very different sensitivity. So they have to communicate with each other over distances sometimes, as the dogs do. And they, like I said, we talked about, when they know someone's coming home before we even do, or hear that thunder before we do.
Yep.
And one of the things we have to remember, too, is we have to kind of take care of these ears. So we know that they have this really great sensitivity to their hearing. So let's take an animal who is designed to be able to hear a mouse rustling in the grass that they're hunting, and we're going to put them into an apartment and blare some Eminem or something like that.
Have you been to my apartment? This is
right,
happening, right?
So so we have to remember a little bit, that we are cohabitating with a creature that's a little different than we are. And so I'm not saying you can't play your stereo. I like to jam out as much as anyone else, but but we just have to pay attention to some of those types of things.
See, and it's funny that we talk about this topic and that I'm hosting the show with you, because on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, I like usually to take the day and clean the house a little bit, right?
Right.
I will take advantage of these days while I have them. And, they're my cats sitting on their favorite, lovely wingback chairs that they've destroyed. That's another episode, right? They're sitting there, and I pump out my Pandora through my TV.
Right.
And it's got to pump out for 2 stories of house. And so it's pretty loud, and I'm thinking, they're just kind of sitting there like, Mom, seriously, do you need to have it this loud? And I say, yes, kitties, I do. Go somewhere else. But I should be a little sensitive.
Take things into consideration a little bit. They're roommates. We have to, we have to live with our roommates. But we need to worry about that. And so that we know that we can damage our pet's hearing over time, just like we can damage our own. And we also know that dogs and cats respond to sound in kind of similar ways to people. There aren't really a ton of, like double-blinded controlled studies and that type of thing studying the effects of music in animals, but there have been some, and they've been really, really interesting in what they've shown. And so we know that through different types of sound bites that animals have been exposed to, and then measuring their physiologic readings and their vital signs and things, that they do respond to different types of music, different types of sound. And they also can suffer some anxiety from overstimulation, just like we do.
Yeah.
When we get overstimulated and we start acting like this.
Yeah.
And, and then we have attention spans that are 15 seconds and that type of thing. And that can happen to our animals as well, which is quite interesting.
Very interesting. I was going to say, sometimes music calms my anxiety, but if I'm listening to music, or whether it's TV or music or web or whatever it is, and then all day long I'm doing that, it's hard to sleep at night. It's your body doesn't really shut down. So the same thing goes for our pets. And not even
just music, but just noise in general. You know, we have a lot of noise pollution we have to worry about. So music, you know, can play a role in, you know, causing some of this overstimulation and agitation, but it can also potentially play a role in doing some calming things. So like I said, there's not been a ton of, you know, really scientific studies on it, but there have been a few. And there have been shown that animals will sort of line their sort of internal rhythms with the rhythms that they're exposed to. And this happens in people too. And so we know that if we're listening, you know, to, you know, like I have a playlist on my iPod that's called Chill Out. And it's just like all
that
music.
Doesn't surprise me.
Just to be like, okay, you know, and it has that effect. And, you know, then we've got the ones that are like, this is my running CD, you know, and, you know, this is my running playlist and that kind of thing. And so we can have those same reactions that happen in animals. It's also quite interesting too that it's not just music, but we talked about different types of noises. We've found that classical music tends to be more calming on vital signs. Heavy metal and really rock clingy music tends to be agitating. But what I found was interesting in some of the results of these studies is that just playing tracks of like human conversation or pop music didn't really have any effect on those pets. And I think it may just be a habituation type thing. I mean, those are the sounds that they're sort of used to hearing, so they just kind of, you know. But it wasn't just times. Then they actually took it one step further and said, okay, so if music has an effect, what are there different tones, different music structures, different complexities of rhythm that will affect that? And there seems to be. So while classical music may in general be somewhat calming, what they found was there's actually more profound response to things that are very simple in their structure. So maybe a piano concerto versus like full symphonic orchestration, you know, Beethoven's Fifth or something. And that slower tempos tended to offer have a bigger response than the quicker.
Gotcha. This is
kind of cool.
All very interesting. It's all, you know, some of these studies obviously have happened with humans, and I can tell a response on how I'm acting and how, I mean, I can a little bit, not completely, but if I'm like running around the house like a crazy person, my cats tend to do that too. But you know, they show they're just a lot more. Cats are a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? In tune than I thought. Yeah. Because I've never had cats before. You always think of dogs being in tune, but they're there at the door. They can hear it before. They're reacting to the way that we are. And it's very interesting. This is all. We could probably go on and on and on about this topic.
They're tuned in and they feed off of stuff. So, and they actually think that it may be, like when they've done these studies and things like in shelter type situations, that there may be an indirect link to some of our you know, to some of the human responses that happen, because it's extremely well documented that animals will feed off of the energy of the humans that they're around. And so we talk a lot, even in an exam room, like, okay, I know you're really nervous about what's going to happen here, but you're going to put on your Oscar-winning performance and be okay with it, because you're actually making, you know, your pet more nervous about this. So, you know, let him feed off of your positive calm energy. And so we know that happens. And so, you know, we wonder if there's a little bit of an indirect link of this is how the music affects the humans in the room, and if that doesn't also maybe have an added bonus indirect link, you know, the music itself may be helping, but also the indirect link of all the humans in the room are calmer, and so it helps calm down the animals as well.
I think I need to do a project on one of my cats, with the one that eats everything. I should do some kind of like music response. That's like, it's time to stop eating, and I play Eminem
I don't know.
or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, start blaming Metallica by your football or something. But yeah, so you know, obviously, lots of study left to be done.
Yeah, exactly.
On this topic, and to know really what the full effects are and if there are benefits to it and that type of thing. But you know, we might want to consider cleaning to a Chopin piano concerto instead of Metallica.
There you go. Tone it down just a notch. If you're at Eminem, maybe bring it down to like
Go a little Barry or something.
I don't know. I don't know who's a step below Eminem, but they probably don't want
to
be
there.
We love
Eminem, by the way.
Yes,
don't worry about that.
Nothing about Eminem here. Just he's a great example. So very, very interesting, and we'll have more links to this and all of our notes in the show notes. Of course, you can find those on the website under the shows tab, Tales from the Road. And when you watch this on the website, you can see them. If you're watching us on Roku and Boxee, you have to head over to the website and get those show notes if you need them. So great show going on. I know in the next few episodes we're going to be talking about bite prevention because it's so important.
Yes.
So that'll be really interesting. We've got a 3-part series going on there. But of course, the shameless plugging, you can follow Tales from the Road on RVNN's Pinterest board, pinning lots of cute things, of course, naturally.
And occasional gross things.
And occasional gross things, naturally, as well.
Yeah.
You can circle us on Google+, give us a thumbs up on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. And if you'd like to send Dr. Wendy a question, just go ahead and hashtag TFTR for Tales from the Road and on Twitter, and we will get those questions answered. As well, you can email tales@rvnn.tv, T-A-I-L-S, Tales from the Road. For Tales from the Road, not
That's
Tales.
right.
Anyways, I'm getting confusing now. And that's a good cue to wrap it up. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Gabe, wanna go for a walk? Gabe? Gabe? Gabe?
Hey, buddy, you lost? Hold on.
If your pet is the adventuresome type, be sure he's connected to PetHub. A quick scan using any smartphone shares your pet's vital information, so that even his wildest escapades have a happy ending. PetHub, reuniting pets with their families.
Come on, Gabe, let's go home.